Oseo!
Oseo!
Wave the great flag for the good of it. This last week or two, the few of us here in Coyote's Creation Lodge traveled up to Yosemite National Park to attend and participate in the annual poetry festival is what they call it. It's at the Parsons Lodge, a rebuilt historic lodge by that name. And they have featured poets that come there and give workshops and so forth. So that's been the inspiration and the excitement and so forth. I had previously read, and we've been going there for several years, and so I'm saying some years ago I read in the Sierra magazine that the native people who had long lived, inhabited the Yosemite, had been, by the government, asked to leave, if you know what that means. So to make it a national park, but also, says the magazine, to give, the Anglo-Americans, as we can call them, some kind of an impression that they are entering or visiting a pristine forest, as if it was the moon and no humans had been there before. But for those of us who are well acquainted with native things, we do find, this is just one little handstone. We do find the evidence of people for a long time. This is a hand-hewn tool for something. There's all kinds of stones. So it's very exciting to see them and pick them up and feel we're shaking hands with somebody who has been there before. And the shape of the stones and things suggests that people have been there, I think, for thousands of years. So there is that. And I'm going to start out with a Coyote haiku. That this was my last haiku for up there. Here in Turtle Island, a Cherokee flag flutters freely. Coyote's little acre. Okay, we're off to a good start there. And up there with the mountain meadows, and we see the deer. We didn't see any bear this time. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place there. But it inspired me, for this theme that I'm doing today. It's about grasses. Mainly we're talking about the prairie grasses. And so you can look down here at my map. This is called Tribes of the Indian Nation. I presented this last week, and so this is, the delineation here of the United States, which we call Turtle Island here. And this red part that I have colored here, delineated, introduced it last week, this is the nation, the Ochichesakwin Nation, that is the Federation of the Siouan nations, principally the Lakota, Dakota, and other related people. So all this in the red is the language group, or language family, called Siouan. So you can see that's in the heart of Turtle Island. Now, this week, I have added this green here. So this is approximate the prairies. And because I already have the red, you can just imagine that the green would also have gone well into the red. So all of this would form the prairie grasslands, which were the home, the food of people and animals, mainly millions and millions of buffalo. So that's what I'm introducing and starting off here. This is a piece, this is actually by our famous last of the living San Francisco Beat Poets, Gary Snyder. So, the Plains grassland. This extensive territory constituted the western short grass and central mixed grass plains, as distinct from the less arid eastern long grass or true prairies. The entire area of the western plains and eastern prairies, however, extended from Canada in the north to Texas in the south, from the Rocky Mountains in the west as far as Indiana in the east. This vast and complex area of grasslands covered more of North America than did any other, approximately 1/5 of the land's surface. The rich grasses and flowering plants form the base and source of a great food chain, which originated in the grasses, nourishing the animals. The chain continued with dynamic force, and yet with inherent fragility. This cycle was to be broken within a short period of only 30 years by you know who. Now here's a list of the grasses to give you an idea how many grasses there are. In Lakota, Fakiji means the grass. Basakakasa, the Kent bluegrass. Smooth brome grass. Hunkpila moss, or blue grama. E cafe, pitchfork grass. Inosake inkapa, oats. Foxtail barley grass. Buffalo grass. Meadow pine grass. Blue grama grass. Heavy sedge grass. Barnyard grass. Salt grass. Dwarf milkweed grass. Little blue stem grass. Fakiji sasa, Indian grass. Big blue stem grass. Small red grass. Stink grass. Sinew grass. Red three-awan grass. Cactus grass. Tumble grass. Sweet grass. Small panic grass. Yellow grass. West wheat grass, and the green grass moon of April, and the juncus grass for basket making.
Bear grass.
I could extend that further with Lakota names. Some are Lakota in there, but the Lakota will even have a longer list than that. So you can see that people who have lived here in the grasslands for thousands of years had well learned everything about them and have a full culture of that, to learn from. And I think a lot of the grass in native languages, blue and green kind of go together. When you get like a name like turquoise, because it's perceived green or it's perceived blue. So many of the grasses are being perceived as blue, like the buffalo grass. So all of that, I should have had you, focused on this shield here, because that's my illustration for Gary Snyder's piece that I have just read. Then we go down here to this piece. This is Grasshopper Girl. So another way that the grasses are figured or personified, one is by Grasshopper Girl. And here is from the mountaintop way. Dona, Dona, hearing the voice above, voice of winter thunder. Within the darkened clouds again and again he sounds, Dona, Dona. Hearing the voice below, the voice of Grasshopper Girl in among the plants. Again and again she sounds, Dona, Dona. the voice that beautifies our land. The voice up above, voice of winter hot thunder, hidden in the clouds, again and again he sounds. Voice that beautifies our land, voice that beautifies our land. Hear the voice below, voice of grasshopper girl, in among the plants. Again and again she sounds, the voice that beautifies our land. Dona, dona. So all that gives you some idea, at least, that there is this real culture, a very, very ancient, very long-lasting culture until recently. But what's also happening recently, everybody knows, has been developing and growing something of an environmental awareness. And it's coming in all forms, scientific, poets, artists, young people, even children are talking about it. So all of this that had been destroyed by the great invasion from Europe now is now being recollected, and all different things are going into it. In this particular theme, large areas in different parts of the country are now being, one way or the other, reseeded. I mean, whether they're ranches or First Nations group or government, different places these things are going on to bring back, reseed the native plants and even the buffalo, to go along with that. So it's like we're getting a new kind of culture, to go along with that. So all of that here, up here you can see I have the buffalo, who is the principal of the heart of Turtle Island. This is actual buffalo fur here. And here I have this buffalo as he would look in the buffalo grass, chewing away. Then over here, you can see I'm Sitting Bull, and this is my watercolor. I'm kind of fond of it. Sitting Bull, his name is really Tatanka Kyo Yutaka, meaning bull that's sitting here. His name is very powerful, very, very strong, powerful. He was a great spiritually evolved man and leader, and so forth, and he successfully resisted, the United States Army, masterminded the defeat of the Army at the Little Bighorn and things like that. So I'm putting it together here with my watercolor. Conceptually, various people world over have ideas of human evolution in the terms of ages, eons, epochs, periods, anything to that effect. In this one, the buffalo, among the Lakotas, the white buffalo, but buffalo nevertheless, has 4 legs. And each leg, denotes an age of humans on this planet like that. And of course now we're in the 5th age. And in the 5th age, the buffalo sits down. They sit down in the grass. So this is a completion. In ancient Mexico, this 5th age, it's called Oyen, the time of movement, usually interpreted as a time of earthquakes. But it is also other interpretations, Akahehea in Lakota means wave the feather, wave the great feather. Also is the waving of the grass and the waving of the Cherokee flag. So we have different ways that we can say in this. So the main thing is that the sitting buffalo is in the 5th age, or the 5th world. Claudia and I, when we lived in Arizona and had friends in the Hopi country, we attended a ceremony for in the Hopi calendar, the beginning of the fifth age. So basically the fifth age throughout Native America is a time of equilibrium, a time of spiritual presence, maybe spiritual resonance, something like that, which for right now, I'm saying, is the white buffalo constellation. That's why I have the white buffalo up there. So during this time, and we can feel, consider, think of the white buffalo over us, and that all our actions, in the sense of a spiritual unity for everybody, for everything. So that's basically what I feel in my watercolor. This is kind of a dream image, and seeing the animal, the buffalo, as the animal sits down one leg at a time, kind of looks like kind of kneels down until he comes to rest. So Sitting Bull here is a spiritual icon for us in Native America. And so all that goes together for us. Now I'm going to come to the next part of this. That's all for the grasslands and the prairie and so forth. And here, if you can focus on this piece here, this is, last week was a white buffalo woman. Now this is blue buffalo calf woman. This is her. And she's holding these very large braided wands of sweetgrass. And you can see all the blue in her. I think it's because so much of the grass of the Plains people is perceived as blue. The word do is blue. And you come down here and look at my creation here, that this is her. This my creation of the blue buffalo maiden is how she's called here, with the sweetgrass, around her. So you can focus on here or here while I read her piece. Wakenya, thunderbird, passed by. Eagle passed by. The sea passed by. Behind it, the spirits passed by. Like flowers, the spirits trailed behind the sea. From where the spirits came, the placenta spewed forth. Spirits were born here. From the placenta, spirits were flowing like clouds. Then, with the clouds, the sacred place appeared, and the buffalo appeared in it. Then the buffalo became cloud. Here the spirits saw it and knew it. It was the face and horns of the buffalo. He had changed into cloud and was raining. Green grows the bed of grasses, so they appeared together, called Uwini Wichanga, Lady Sweetgrass. Here the spirits brought the face and horns of buffalo. And now the sweetgrass was born, and from it burst a yellow tassel. The spirits came near, loosening the yellow tassels. They became 3 yellow rays, pronounced with song. Ah-heh-heh! Yeah, the sweetgrass will be the buffalo's cradle. Now blue buffalo calf maiden appears. Oh-heh! Oh-heh! In the east, in the south, in the west, in the north, and in the heart of Turtle Island. Blue buffalo are appearing. Potato wind, blue buffalo maiden. And over here is the shield of the blue buffalo. Now here's a little piece, translated from a Yaqui song, which pertains to this. With Yaquis, instead of the buffalo, it's all about the deer. But this one is about the grass. It's poetry. Where are you standing in the wind? Dry grasses, straw, and shaking in the wind, dry grasses. Where are you standing in the wind? Dry grasses, straw, and shaking in the wind, dry grasses. There, in the wilderness, the flower world, a pale blue cloud will be gray water at its peak. The mist will rain down on the flower ground, and shining, reaching bottom, where you are only, standing in the wind, dry grasses, straw, and shaking in the wind. There is a lot more. I think I'm going to continue this theme into next Sunday, so I can say more about the buffalo in this. One more thing, let me take a drink here. It's very hot here. I'm not going to do this one today. I think I'll save it. But I'm going to finish up this time with my poem. That is, in the workshop there at the Poetry Festival, the guest poet, May Libanga, and she gave us the prompt, what is your first emotional awareness, or something like that. And so we had 20-30 minutes, to do it, and this is mine. I wrote this, and then, as others did, I stood up and read it, to the group. To start out on my own, the vaquero brought the horse to La Escuela at the lake shore for me to ride on my own. El caballo, sí, él es bueno, pero él tiene solo un ojo. He only has one eye. And he was already saddled and ready, fed and ready to go. Tal vez, maybe. Solo un ojo looked through me under my sombrero. Now up and off on the rocky lava trail, steeply crawling through this pine tree forested mountain, which is rising to 7,000 feet above. Then levels out somewhere that maybe recalls when the clouds, now laden with moisture, were once gaseous steam spewing out of volcano craters. But now I'm a horseback riding artist with no prior idea of a destination in a forested place in the Sierras of Mexico. Just riding, clip-clop, as they say, very quiet, very peaceful, no thoughts. Suddenly, a saw-ripping sound cuts through it all, and me. Seesaw, 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 and an unknown awakening. All at once, huge black wings seesawed through the small mountain meadow. An eagle or raven of a huge black feather of the bird of this memory, of this vaquero. Oh.